Have you ever wondered what would happen if your own family decided you no longer deserved a place under the same roof? Imagine the shock, the profound pain of being rejected by those who should be your safe haven, your foundation. This is the story of Nancy, a woman who, amidst the darkness of this rejection, discovered an inner strength capable of transforming not only her life, but also her way of facing the world around her. Have you ever experienced something similar? Or do you know someone who had to rebuild their identity after such a devastating episode? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover may surprise you and, who knows, even change the way you view personal challenges. Nancy's experience is not just a story about being kicked out of her home. It's a journey of struggle, resilience, and self-discovery that reveals the power of moving forward, even when everything seems lost. Often, family is our greatest source of love, but it can also be the stage for the greatest pain and conflict. In this video, we will explore how a seemingly hopeless situation can be the beginning of a profound transformation, where initial pain gives way to courage and personal reinvention. Feelings such as rejection, sadness, and anger, but also hope and overcoming adversity, are intertwined in this narrative that will stir your emotions and provide valuable insights. Do you know what it's like to have to rebuild your life from scratch? Nancy faced this challenge without any support, carrying the pain of exclusion and the uncertainty of a future that seemed bleak. And that's precisely where her story becomes a powerful example for everyone who, at some point, has felt helpless or invisible. Furthermore, this journey shows us that even in the most difficult moments, it's possible to find unexpected strengths that propel us forward and seek a greater purpose. Along this path, keywords like overcoming, resilience, inner strength, and self-knowledge will naturally appear, as they are essential to understanding what comes after the initial shock. And you know what's most impressive? This transformation didn't happen overnight, but rather step by step, with each difficulty becoming a stepping stone towards a new version of Nancy, stronger, more aware, freer. During this video, you'll see how pain can be the spark that ignites the flame of change, and how rejection can open doors to opportunities that would never have arisen if everything had remained the same. What you'll discover here is not just a story of sadness, but a true life lesson, showing how we can rebuild our self-esteem, give new meaning to our experiences, and transform adversity into growth. So, if you're going through a tough time, or know someone who needs inspiration to move forward, this story is for you. Pay attention to the details I'm about to reveal, because they can make all the difference in your personal journey. And in the midst of this journey, as you engage with the strength Nancy discovered, it's important to emphasize how your participation here is crucial so that stories like this can reach more people who also need inspiration and courage. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below about what touched you most in this introduction, because your voice helps create a united community around real and transformative stories. Liking the video is also a simple but powerful way to show that this content matters, fueling our motivation to continue bringing you stories that move and teach. Furthermore, if you want to closely follow the unfolding of this story, and even more videos about overcoming challenges, resilience, and self-discovery, subscribe to the channel. Your subscription isn't just a number, it's a sign that we're in this journey together, valuing every experience and learning from every challenge. Stay with me, because what comes next in this story will further deepen this connection and reveal the next steps in a transformation that may surprise you. The active participation of each one of you here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this type of content, potentially generating a positive impact far beyond what we imagine. Therefore, your comment, your like, and your subscription are an essential part of this movement of learning and empathy. Without them, stories like Nancy's could go unnoticed, but with you here, they gain a voice and reach hearts. Now, following this thread of emotion, get ready for the next stage of this narrative that promises to stir your emotions and open new perspectives. Stay with me. Nancy was a woman marked by the small gestures of daily life, the shared coffee, the children's laughter around the table, even the silence of the nights when everything seemed peaceful. During this period, She thought she had found her safe haven, a home where every detail, however simple, carried meaning and comfort. The hidden truth behind that seemingly tranquil life, however, was the growing tension, the family conflicts, and the deep desire for harmony. It's not always easy to see what's happening behind the scenes of relationships, where every decision made can have a lasting impact on the mindset of everyone involved. As difficulties mounted, Nancy sought alternatives to preserve peace at home, trying to reassess her attitudes and choices daily. Revelations emerged in delicate conversations with her children, showing that behind the appearance of tranquility lay a desire for recovery, to regain lost trust. It was as if her journey demanded an urgent transformation, a sincere review of her own values in search of the much-desired balance. Deep down, Nancy knew it's never too late to change, to adjust course, but the fear of rejection still weighed on her mind. Family life became marked by distance, disagreements, and difficult decisions. Nancy needed to exercise courage, learn to cope with emotions, and practice self-care to avoid losing sight of her own essence, even when everything around her seemed to be crumbling. Behind the scenes, intense conversations and tense moments revealed the power of genuine choices. After all, only those who experience such a dilemma understand the impact of these revelations on relationships. Each day was an opportunity to make new decisions and seek clarity about the hidden truth of feelings, even in the face of the insecurity that pervades the family environment. She knew that certain changes could completely transform the course of her life. And it was in this context, amidst doubts and expectations, that Nancy began to cultivate the mindset that starting over is independent of age or circumstance. It's never too late to reinvent yourself, to take the lead in your own life, understanding that the courage to take a new step often comes at a high price, but it all pays off in moments of overcoming challenges. This ability to look back, recognize what has been experienced, and still move forward is the true strength of those who embark on a journey of self-discovery. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, showing how Nancy faced the ups and downs of this cohabitation, revealing details that are usually hidden, the behind-the-scenes story of a family that dreamed of harmony but had to confront difficult truths before deciding to start over. Comment below. Transformation is part of my journey. This helps give voice to the impact of this story and encourages the sharing of experiences that can also inspire others. On a day that seemed ordinary, but held an invisible tension, everything suddenly exploded. Nancy was in the kitchen, preparing something simple, when she heard words she never imagined hearing from her children, people who had once been her safe haven, her source of unconditional love. "You're not welcome here anymore, Mom. Go away." The sound of those words cut through the silence like a sharp blade, causing a pain that surpassed all understanding. That moment became a turning point in her life, a point where everything that seemed solid crumbled before her eyes. A feeling of emptiness filled her heart, mixed with a whirlwind of emotions, sadness, disbelief, and an internal struggle not to succumb to despair. But even in the darkest of nights, the light of hope can emerge. Nancy, despite the devastating shock, began to understand that it's never too late to rewrite your story, even when everything seems lost. Family rejection is one of the deepest and most difficult challenges anyone can face, as it shakes the very core of what belonging, love, and acceptance mean. She had to learn to navigate a tortuous path of self-discovery, where courage became her greatest ally and the will to overcome grew stronger. This process brought to light the importance of inner transformation, a shift in mindset that allowed Nancy to confront the hidden truth of her emotions, preparing herself for the next steps on her journey. Amidst this chaos, an awakening arose regarding the real impact that decisions, even painful ones, can have on life. Nancy needed to rely on her strongest inner strength, and little by little, she began to see that the open wounds could be healed with patience, self-compassion, and a renewed outlook on the future. She realized that the strength to continue did not come from the approval of others, but from recognizing her own worth, her capacity for decision-making, and the power to start over. It is never too late to choose hope instead of giving up, to turn the pages of life and write a new chapter full of possibilities. The pain of expulsion stirred up feelings, but also revealed a rare opportunity for reconstruction. What seemed to be the end was actually an invitation to go further, to explore in depth how fragile family relationships impact our essence and how overcoming these moments is crucial for personal growth. In the subtext of this chapter of sadness and renunciation, a powerful message of resilience emerged, a symbol that true new beginnings are born from the willingness to face adversity head-on. Nancy needed to exercise a courage that many imagined to be impossible in the face of such intimate rejection. And it is this courage that now inspires those who face their own emotional battles, showing that the path to transformation is open to all. Leave a comment below. What dream from your youth still lives within you, waiting for the moment to come true? This question invites each of us to reflect on our own struggles and hopes as we follow this story that continues to unfold with revelations that will touch your heart and mind. Nancy's journey has only just begun to show its multiple layers, and with each step, we will discover more about how courage and new beginnings can redefine destinies. Alone, without knowing where to go, Nancy was overwhelmed by a heart-crushing reality. The pain of familial rejection, so close and personal, was like an immense weight that stole her breath and left her mind in complete turmoil. Losing the support of those who should have been her immediate refuge created a void that seemed impossible to fill. She had nowhere to run, no one to count on, and it was precisely in this moment of absolute fragility that an inner strength began to blossom. A strength Nancy never imagined she possessed. It was a silent revelation, a flame that, little by little, began to illuminate the uncertain path ahead. It's never too late to discover that, even in the face of the greatest adversity, there is a potential for transformation hidden deep within the soul. Nancy realized that the initial shock didn't have to be the end of her journey, but could be the trigger for a fresh start full of challenges. Yes, but also brimming with opportunities to grow, learn, and reinvent herself. This awakening was the first step in a mindset that breaks down barriers and questions hidden truths in the subtext of family. Relationships. The impact of this inner change is profound, because when pain becomes fuel for overcoming, the power of decision takes on a new meaning, bringing to light a courage that previously seemed inaccessible. In this whirlwind of emotions, Nancy had to confront her own limitations, acknowledge her wounds, and above all, accept her emotions without judgment, embracing self-compassion as a true shield against self-criticism. The journey was not simple, as feelings of abandonment and loneliness can be unbearable, but it was precisely this experience that revealed the most sincere inner workings of her soul, opening space for reflections on the true value of self-love and resilience. The pain, which seemed like a burden, began to transform into a powerful tool for self-knowledge, revealing the depth of the decisions that shape a new life trajectory. As Nancy faced these inner storms, a kind of new version of herself emerged. The courage to continue, even alone, was a daily victory, proof that it's never too late to turn the page and build a different story from the one that seemed predetermined. This transformation reflects a universal truth. The strength to overcome and move forward is born from within, and when fueled by hope and determination, can break through any barrier. The revelations of this stage of Nancy's life are an invitation to all who receive this story, to understand that the human journey is full of ups and downs, and that the real challenge lies in remaining steadfast and moving forward even in the darkest moments. After the devastating shock of being rejected by the person she loved most, Nancy felt her world crumbling. But within that darkness, a silent seed of change emerged. Gradually, she realized that even in the face of what seemed like the end, something essential needed to happen: action. It wasn't just a matter of surviving, but of allowing herself to transform. This new perspective wasn't easy, but Nancy understood that it's never too late to rewrite one's own story, to look inward and recognize the strength that had always been there, just waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. The first step in this reconstruction came with decision and courage, characteristics that, at that moment, became beacons illuminating a completely new and unknown path. Nancy began to see herself differently, no longer as someone marked by rejection and abandonment, but as a protagonist of her own life, capable of making decisions that would restore her self-esteem and purpose. The change in mindset, driven by this awareness, acted as a key to open doors that previously seemed closed, opening up possibilities that seemed distant and unattainable. By allowing herself to recognize that true transformation comes from within, Nancy embarked on a journey not only of physical and emotional reconstruction, but also of profound self-discovery. The impact of this decision reverberated in her way of thinking and acting, influencing every small choice in her daily life. She understood that starting over involves confronting the hidden truth about her own history, facing weaknesses, and above all, having the courage to accept that life can be surprisingly generous when we breathe confidence and determination. It's never too late to begin this journey, even when circumstances try to convince us otherwise. At this stage, Nancy experienced a kind of rebirth, a moment when inspiration and hope gave way to paralyzing fear and doubt. Little by little, she transformed each challenge into a stepping stone to overcoming them, learning that true strength lies not in avoiding falls, but in getting up with more willpower and wisdom. This stage brought important revelations about her decision-making capacity and the power of a renewed mindset, which oscillates between the memory of pain and the immense desire to start over. Nancy's journey is a compelling example of how change is possible, even when everything seems to conspire against it. Now, I'm going to tell you how Nancy found the strength not only to survive, but to thrive amidst adversity. Without family support, Nancy found herself needing to seek new connections and a renewed meaning for her life. In the midst of this search, she discovered a support group for people in difficult situations, where she learned about other stories of new beginnings, courage, and transformation. There, in conversations and shared experiences, she began to realize that it's never too late to change your mindset and give new meaning to your path. This environment became a true emotional refuge, a safe space to express her doubts, fears, and dreams, and also to find strengths that previously seemed hidden in the shadows of rejection. With each encounter, Nancy felt the positive impact of the exchange of energy and genuine empathy, showing that the journey of overcoming challenges is much richer when shared. These new relationships opened her eyes to the hidden truth in the human experience. No one is truly alone, even in the most difficult moments. The strength of collective decisions, the inspiration that arises from behind the scenes of intertwined lives, became an essential fuel for Nancy to gradually rebuild her self-esteem and sense of belonging. It was one step after another, a daily construction of resilience and hope. The transformation wasn't just external, but primarily internal. Nancy began to cultivate her courage and self-confidence, reaffirming to herself that it's never too late to seek happiness and fulfillment. The group's experience showed that even with deep wounds and stories marked by pain, it's possible to rediscover the light and rewrite one's own script. Nancy's journey reinforces that true overcoming lies in recognizing the strength that exists within each person and that can be awakened when least expected. Thus, she began to see her life with new eyes, understanding that the path to reconstruction is made of small, everyday victories. In this process, revelations about herself emerged naturally, and her mindset began to align with the most authentic desires of her heart. Nancy discovered that, even in the face of the profound impact of rejection, it is possible to make conscious decisions that nurture hope and strengthen the spirit. Her journey is living proof that starting over can be an act of self-love, a gesture of courage that inspires and contagiously affects those who follow her story. Each day, she wrote a new chapter, intertwining her past with the wisdom she had gained and sowing seeds for the future. Nancy, surprisingly, began to uncover a new universe within herself. Amidst the challenges of rebuilding, she found refuge and inspiration in small skills. Simple things, like tending a garden or preparing a recipe, which seemed insignificant to many, represented a renewed purpose for her, a spark that fueled her transformative mindset. It's never too late to discover hidden abilities And with each practiced action, Nancy felt her confidence grow, as if, little by little, she was shaping a new version of herself, stronger, more capable, and more aware of her own worth. It was fascinating to see how dedication to these everyday activities brought to light talents that, until then, had remained forgotten or had never been explored. The impact of this discovery went far beyond technique. It was an internal revolution that allowed Nancy to create new connections with her own potential. This rediscovery of skills acted as a turning point in her journey, showing that true power often hides in the details and seemingly small choices. She understood that attitude and learning go hand in hand, and that the key to starting over lies in the courage to reinvent oneself and embrace the unknown. By acquiring these new skills, Nancy could feel the transformation in her posture and mindset, leaving behind the shadows of the past and embracing the light of a promising future. This subtle yet profound change is a powerful inspiration for all who face silent inner battles. She came to understand that the path to overcoming challenges doesn't need to be grand from the start. The most significant revolutions arise from simple actions, consistency, and the will to persevere. It's never too late to learn, grow, evolve, and show yourself that life is made of cycles and limitless opportunities. Furthermore, discovering these abilities was crucial for Nancy to reconnect with herself and the world around her. Gardening taught her patience and care, while cooking brought joy and creativity, essential tools for her emotional rebuilding. These activities became the backdrop for a silent yet impactful transformation, revealing a universal truth. The strength to reinvent oneself lies within each of us, waiting to be awakened at the right moment. Nancy's fresh start is also an invitation for each person to recognize and value the small steps that lead to big changes. Now I want to go a little further and show how this rediscovery of herself generated a chain of decisions that changed everything. Comment below. What dream from your youth still lives within you, waiting for the moment to happen? This reflection can open doors for you to also awaken your own abilities and begin a unique journey of transformation inspired by Nancy's story. Her journey is far from over, and each chapter reveals more about the strength that exists in a genuine new beginning. As the days passed, something remarkable was happening within Nancy. The woman who had once been dominated by sadness and a sense of defeat was transforming into a completely new version of herself. This inner transformation wasn't magical or instantaneous. It was a gradual process, full of ups and downs, but brimming with profound discoveries about her own power and capabilities. It's never too late to discover that immense strength resides within us, and Nancy came to understand that the pain consuming her could be channeled into something much greater, her own strength and empowerment. Each challenge faced along this journey was like fuel that propelled Nancy forward, even when the path seemed difficult and uncertain. She came to recognize herself as a capable woman, full of life and prepared to create a new reality based on conscious choices and a transformed mindset. This emotional shift was the true trigger for her personal power, revealing a hidden truth for many who face similar problems. Overcoming begins when we accept our vulnerability and at the same time allow ourselves to be strong. This is a duality that Nancy learned to embrace and that inspires her journey today. Over time, the journey of rebuilding became an incessant source of inspiration for Nancy and those around her. Her story came to reflect the profound impact that courage and resilience can have on someone's life. The inner transformation was a silent revolution that changed her mindset, shaping a woman who not only survives but thrives amidst adversity. It was as if each step along the way revealed a little more of her true self, a strength that had been dormant days before, but now pulsed intensely, illuminating her life and her future. Furthermore, this new stance brought to light important decisions that, although difficult, proved essential for Nancy to shape her identity based on self-respect and self-worth. She understood that the impact of these choices transcends the present moment and has the power to transform the entire course of existence, a valuable lesson about the power of decisions in our personal journey. It is never too late to take on this leading role and use pain as a foundation to build a more authentic, fulfilling, and meaningful life. After months of facing seemingly insurmountable challenges, Nancy finally began to feel like she was regaining control of her own life. The woman who was once dominated by fear and insecurity was transforming into a self-sufficient and independent person, capable of facing any obstacle with determination. It's never too late to understand that, however arduous the journey, the feeling of being able to decide one's own destiny and regain autonomy is one of the greatest achievements anyone can attain. Nancy, little by little, built this space of freedom and inner strength. She landed a small job that, in addition to providing a source of income, brought back a sense of purpose and dignity. This victory was more than financial. It represented an emotional milestone that seemed unattainable at the beginning of her journey. Simultaneously, Nancy dedicated herself to taking care of her physical and mental health, understanding that this care was key to maintaining the stability necessary to move forward. The rediscovery of her own importance and the appreciation of the small things in everyday life began to nourish her spirit, renewing her energy and increasing her self-confidence. This moment of recovery was not just a practical phase, but a profound transformation that changed Nancy's mindset and decisions. She understood that taking ownership of her own story has an almost immediate impact on quality of life, on how we face our challenges, and on the opportunities we begin to see. Self-sufficiency was, for Nancy, more than a concept. It was living proof that starting over is possible, even after devastating losses. This achievement also revealed a hidden truth for many. True strength is born within each of us, accompanies our choices, and manifests itself when we allow ourselves to act with courage and perseverance. Nancy learned that the path to independence doesn't have to be lonely, but that it depends, above all, on the decision to take responsibility for one's own happiness and well-being. This loyalty to herself became the foundation for her rebuilding and continues to guide her steps towards a future full of potential and achievements. It's never too late to find this balance and to live a life that respects our deepest needs and dreams. Nancy's journey is an inspiring example of how determination, even in the face of difficulties, can lead to a unique and lasting transformation. After all the storm Nancy faced, a new phase began to unfold, full of unexpected possibilities. The woman who seemed to have lost everything was about to experience a moment no one could have predicted, a turning point that would bring to the surface old feelings and profound questions about forgiveness, love, and reconciliation. It's never too late for a reunion, for wounds to begin to heal, even slowly. Nancy's story, despite all the pain and loss, did not end in rejection. On the contrary, it was only beginning to reveal a chapter full of emotion and hope. This reunion with her children came about unexpectedly, in a situation that shook all the certainties she had until then. Raw emotions and hidden truths coming to light made that moment unique and transformative. Nancy, who had traveled an arduous path of self-discovery and strength, found herself facing a scenario where the courage to forgive and the desire to rebuild relationships clashed in an intense internal battle. The decisions made at that moment left a profound impact, not only on her life, but on the family dynamic as a whole, opening space for a new beginning that many considered improbable. This twist brought to light revelations that few could have imagined, showing the behind the scenes of a journey marked by overcoming challenges and the ability to reinvent love and trust. Nancy's renewed mindset, built day by day with small victories, was fundamental in ensuring that this reunion was not just a coincidence, but part of a larger transformation, one that happens when we understand the impact of our choices and the power we have over our own story. It's never too late to rewrite the script, even when the pages seem already full of painful chapters. Reaching. This point shows that this story touched something deep within you, and it's precisely this connection that makes everything more special. If this content resonated with you and provided value, how about leaving a comment with the phrase, "I'm with you until the end"? It's a simple and powerful way to show that we're in this journey of transformation and overcoming challenges together. A like here also helps reinforce this connection we've created, fueling our desire to continue bringing you true and inspiring stories. And if you want to continue delving into this universe of courage, choices, and new beginnings, there's a video right here that perfectly complements this topic. Click there and stay with me so we can continue exploring Nancy's journey and discover how each step left deep marks and surprising revelation. It's never too late to strengthen this path, learn more, and grow towards a life full of purpose and inner strength. Welcome to continue this journey with me, because the story still has much to reveal.